Howdy y'all, welcome to Vox Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright, so I've been, man, you really don't look like you're facing where I want you to face. Oh, you're just being weird. Okay. I don't know why that was facing where it was facing, because this one's also not really facing where there we go. Are you all doing weird things like that? So I have added some spotlights to my base because I didn't like how dark it was. And I did go out and do a little looting already as well because I couldn't make very many spotlights, and I thought maybe I would. I don't know that I really need some spotlights. I thought about adding some lights to my base instead of torches now that I have power. Honestly, I should maybe think about adding like walls and stuff. There's not really a whole lot of area, but maybe I could put like what if I put like an arch over my work area here and I equipped some lights to it. I think I like that. I honestly don't know. I don't know how far up here I can even get this to go without it collapsing. This is where I try to do something, and then the distance is too great, and then the whole thing just, whoops, makes my base collapse. Okay. So then I'm gonna want a relay, I'm sure, in the middle. How big? 2, 3. Well, I should probably put a couple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I don't know if I can do more than one from a switch, though. Can I? Oh, I can. I couldn't remember. Okay. Alright, and then can I make some lights? GHT. Basic light bulb. That is what I want right there. Forged iron and electric parts. That is pretty simple. Just gotta sort this stuff. Ooh, I am really, really low on electric parts. I'm gonna have to go get electric parts. Not before I make some light bulbs, though. I think 2 light bulbs is probably enough for what I want to do right now. And then I will go get some electric parts. How long is it going to take to make these? Oh, they're pretty quick. Nice. So, we played some D&D tonight, and it was infuriating. Sometimes, I tell you. Now, how big was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we go over 2 from each side, let's go 3. 3 from each side. We'll put a light bulb. Okay. Now that I've done that, I'm not sure how to move that stuff once you get it down, to be honest. I'm going to put this right in between these two. Oh, you know what? It kind of was. Oh, dang it. That's weird. Well, you know what? I don't actually need that. Woof. No! Seriously, listen. I just wanted to pick up the torch. I didn't want to break down my entire base. Will you place that? Thank you. Okay. Do I have some cement, maybe? I have 20. That's not going to cut it. I've got none in there. Wow, I only have enough for 90 in here. That's crazy. Well, I got one light anyways. Let's go get some electric parts then. I must have used most of my parts making those spotlights anyways. Um, so, yeah, we played D&D tonight. It was the other guy's turn to run the game, and so we were playing in the dungeon crawly one that we've been doing. There's not a lot of storyline to it or anything like that, which is why I call it dungeon crawly. Because we're just crawling through a dungeon. Nothing else happens. And it's just lots and lots of dungeon crawl and very little interaction with NPCs or anything like that. And so we had ended like 6 weeks ago because we haven't played that one in a while. We had defeated the drow leader on the floor we were on, and then we faced off against some kind of mutant scorpion drow monster guy and a couple of his mutations. And so they were dead at that point, and so we had about I'd say an eighth of the level left to explore tonight, and uh, and so we get started, and immediately, right off the bat, he goes, "So I think you guys are basically done with this floor, so we can probably move on to the next floor if you want, or you can go back to town, or uh, whatever." And I'm like, we have like most of this floor or most of this corner of the floor that we're on to explore yet. What do you mean? And I'm like, we haven't been most of these areas. And I start clicking, and one of the other guys is like, yeah, all that's black to me because we play online, and so the map is blacked out unless you've been there before. And so then he realizes that we haven't been to all those places and that we're not done with this floor yet. And so we he starts telling us we got two places we can go to from where we're at. We can go over here or we can go over there. And so he stops talking, and then I say, I mean, I guess if we follow, and then he immediately starts back in, and he's like, so you guys can go over here to this door. It appears to be blocked, or you guys can go over here. and back to a section that you've already been to and take another path, or you can try to go through these doors here, uh, or I'll just move your guys over here, and this is what you see. And I'm like, yep, all right. I'm just gonna sit here quiet then. I can't even say a sentence. And so he finishes talking, and so then I'm like, all right, so if we continue to follow the left wall like we normally do, this is the direction that we would go in, I believe. And so she's a runner, man. She's an overpowered runner, and I probably should have got out my gun. That guy jumped right over my head. Little froggy dude. And so he was real on the telling us where we went, and what we did tonight. And so after saying that, then the other guys were like, "Yeah, we should go down this tunnel." And so he's like, "All right, well, so you guys go down this tunnel." And then he tells us how we came to this door. The door's got blood on it, and that it appeared to be smeared with blood. And so I'm like, does it appear like we killed something, or somebody killed something against the door, or does it look like somebody like wiped blood across it? Because I thought maybe the door was locked with some kind of blood lock or something, right? And so he said that yes, the door looked like someone had placed the bloody handprint on there. So one of the other guys is like, I'm gonna go grab one of the creatures we killed and smear its bloody hand across the. This is why I don't have lockpicks, man. I'm gonna run out of lockpicks again. Yep, out of lockpicks. And so, we get through the door, and it's a big empty room. And in the middle of the room is a statue, and the statue is of a drow god. And our rogue, he recognizes drow religion stuff because he keeps rolling super high on the checks. And so the DM starts telling us about the dude, and then he says, because our rogue walked up to the statue to point out some of its features to us, the statue gets down, walks across the room to where our rogue is at, and strikes him with its weapon, and then walks back over to its pedestal and stands back on the pedestal the same way it was when we first entered the room. I'm like, well, that's odd. So we skirt around the edges of this room with the statue. We'll come back to the statue. And so we continue on, and we get to another room. And this room is a crossroads. So there's a door to the north, a door to the south, the hallway we came down, and a hallway across from us. Now, we had already been in the hallway across from us. At this point in the evening, which was very quickly after we started, our DM had decided, since we didn't move on to the next level like he wanted, that we had found a map that showed us everything on the level. And so there was no more fog of war on the map. And so we could see where every path went to at this point. And so there's no reason for us to be on this floor. We can move to the next floor. And we're like, but we haven't. I don't think that helps me at all. But we haven't explored those areas, so we don't know what's there. And he's like, oh, well, I guess maybe you might find something if you continue exploring. I don't know what his problem was with us exploring this floor tonight. But he did not want us to continue exploring the floor. And so then the one guy asked about where the darkness extended to, and he explained. I thought I heard a zombie. he explained that we couldn't see the southern door because of the darkness. And then he goes, but I can move your characters around to the other side if you just want to come in from the other side. You don't have to go through the darkness because you've already been to the other side of the room that the door in the darkness would lead to. And so you could just travel around to that side, and I can just move your guys over there now. And so then I'm like, okay, but if we're following the go left rule, then we would actually go to the north. We wouldn't go to the south, anyways. So then the other guy's like, "Oh yeah, that's right. We wouldn't go that direction anyways." And he goes, "Okay, well I'm just gonna tell you right now that that room that you didn't go to yet is just full of junk. There's nothing in there. There's no reason to go to that section, so we can just move on." We're like, "Okay." Sure glad we get to explore this map in a game of D&D. Uh, and so so then we move on from that, and we enter. Um, I'm trying to remember where this stuff goes to. So then we found a group of dead dwarves, and I'm looking at my notes at this point in the evening because I thought we had some stuff to do. And there are a tiny like 6 quests we've gotten so far. We're on floor 10. We've been playing this since like December of last year, it feels like. And not when I say December last year, I don't mean 2020. I mean 2019. And maybe it wasn't that long ago, but it sure seems like it. And so I'm looking at my notes for the couple of quests that we have available. I'm like, oh yeah, it says on this floor, the next one, there's these dead dwarves. And so I'm like, does one of these dwarves have a boar's head helm on him? And he's like, he does. And I'm like, oh, well, this guy's got the gym. Or I said, well, this guy's got. He's like, that's right. You found the dwarf that's got the gym that you need for this quest. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I got to finish my sentence, but thanks. And then he acted like we had a hard time finding the gym that we knew he had. Um, and now remember, he wanted us to leave the floor way before we even got to this point, even though this is where the gym was to complete a quest that gives us nothing. It's not like he's trying to stop us from getting some amazing thing. We don't get XP for completing the quest. We got renown with the Lord's Alliance, who have nothing to do with what we're doing, so it's pointless. I hate faction quests in this game because the faction doesn't mean anything to us. We don't interact with NPCs. We don't get special bonuses for having higher faction. Our DM doesn't do anything with it, so there's no reason to earn it. So when we get a quest and the reward is like, you'll get renown with such and such a faction, I'm like, whatever. Who cares? If it don't mean anything, then who cares? And so, uh, so we, anyways, we get our gym, and then there's one more section we haven't been to yet. But as soon as we get our gym, he's like, "All right, floor's done." I'm like, well, "What about this whole upper corner of the map we haven't been to yet? You said there was a secret door that we now know about because of the map, and I imagine that secret door leads to these sections, and they look important on the map that's now been revealed since somehow we magically know everything that exists." He's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. You guys haven't done that part yet. Everything's uncovered, so it's hard to remember where you've been and where you haven't." Well, maybe if you'd let us actually make the choices of what we're doing and where we're going, it would be easier to remember. And so we go in there, and and so we enter this area that's a temple, and the temple has 3 banshees on a platform like a raised stone dais kind of thing. And at the back of that dais is an altar. And in between where we were at and the raised dais are two giant braziers that are actually connected to, according to the book, uh, gas veins. And so they're constantly lit. And so um, we okay, that one's actually pretty useful there. Do I have any mods on this? I don't have mods on this. Oh, I do have mods on this, but I don't have triple pockets. And so it's supposed to be lit up, but when he describes the place, he says that it's all in darkness. Now we can see 60 feet in darkness, but we can't see farther than that because we have dark vision. Dark vision only goes out 60 feet for us. You can get farther, but you either have to have a special ability or a different race than what we play. And so we play 60-foot dark vision races. We don't play the 120-foot dark vision race or have a special ability that gives us 120 foot of dark vision, which is the most. And so I don't think there's anything that gives you more than the 120 feet. There could be, but I'm not aware off the top of my head that there would be. And so we can't see these banshees. And so we rolled stealth to sneak into the room, and they rolled poorly on their stealth. And so we don't get to sneak up on them because they're too far away. Fine, I don't have a problem with that. But some of us can shoot bows, but they were too far away because we couldn't see them because the room was dark, right? And so then he's like, well, what do you know, they say they're going to attack us, so obviously we want to fight back. And so then we roll for combat, and he rolls really poorly for initiative for the banshees. They only get a 5, and so we all roll higher than they do. 5 is pretty bad, and so because you go in order, highest to lowest, and so you want a high number on your initiative roll, not a low number, and 5 is getting to the bottom. And so the banshee attacks. The ranger on our team attacks. Hey, a potato. I can't really carry any of that. My inventory's full. So the ranger attacks and basically wipes out one of the banshees. And then the rogue attacks and greatly damages the second banshee. There are 3 banshees. And then it's my fighter's turn, and he gets up there and kills the second banshee and injures the third banshee. And then it's my bard's turn. No. Is that when that happened? Yes. And then it's my bard's turn. No. And then he says, immediately after my fighter goes, spiders come pouring out of the altar and surround my fighter, and they all attack my fighter. And so he makes a bunch of attacks. I guess I probably should have used some more abilities than I used, but I was starting to get irritated at this point because the spiders didn't enter combat. The spiders got to take a whole turn without it being their turn, and so I was confused as to what was happening at this point. Um, and then it's my bard's turn. Now my bard is too far away to take a turn, unfortunately. And so I had, in fact, with my fighter, I had to use one of his special abilities to even get close enough to hit. Because you get movement, you get an action, and my movement's 30 feet, so 30 feet was not anywhere near close enough. And then I used my action to dash, which lets you go another 30 feet. It's basically, I don't know why I came in here. I don't have any room to pick stuff up. There's nothing wrong with looting this place, but I can't do it right now because I have got too much junk. And so, after that, I'm like, I don't. Oh, my fighter moves 30 feet, action dash 30 feet, and then action surge, which is an ability I can use like once every time we rest. And resting is rare. You don't get to rest constantly, or usually you don't get to rest constantly. And so it's like a couple of times a game day ability. And so I used it there so that I could attack the Banshees because I guess I metagamed a little bit. I knew Banshees were dangerous. I just couldn't remember how dangerous. And he said we had fought Banshees before, but I don't remember fighting Banshees. I mean, I know I fought Banshees before in the game, but I don't remember fighting Banshees with these characters. But they have an ability where if you fail, you die. And so that's pretty powerful. And so I was trying to kill these things before they killed us. Plus, we were just about done with the floor, he kept saying. So I figured this was a good spot to use Action Surge. And so I do that. I kill the one Banshee, I hit the other. Then the spiders come out. Then it's my Bard's turn. And I move the Bard 30 feet, which puts me about 40 feet out from the Banshee. Now, I can't get close enough to hit him with my weapons. And so all I can figure is spells, because a bard is a spellcaster. And so I'm looking through my spells, and I'm trying to decide. They're undead, and undead don't usually respond to psychic abilities, which a lot of my spells are psychic abilities because I'm playing with some... when I made my character, psychic abilities were a new thing in D&D, and they've been revamped quite a bit, and some of my abilities no longer exist. But we decided that since I had been using them for so long, I would get to keep them. By we, I mean the DM decided that he was fine with me keeping set abilities, which is just a couple of spells. I use it a lot. I enjoy the spells. I'm a little sad that they don't exist. I think they do exist, but they've been changed in how they work. And so he didn't want to change up because he understood how the version we use now worked, and he didn't want to have to try and figure out a new version of said abilities. I believe is what he said. So, and I was just fine with keeping my abilities as they were. And so, so I'm trying to figure out what abilities to go, and he goes, "Oh, you know what? I missed something," which he does a lot, and then we have to undo our turn so that he can do the thing he was supposed to do, because he doesn't just wait till the next turn to do them. And so he goes, "I need everybody to roll a Wisdom saving throw." And so wisdom, that means that it's doing something that affects your mind, usually. And sure enough, it was a fear ability. called Horrifying Visage. Now, the trick here is, and there is a trick here. The trick here is that Horrifying Visage is an ability that the Banshee can use on their turn. The problem was, it was not the Banshee's turn. So I was unclear as to how the Banshee was doing this. Now, I did not think anything about the Banshee doing this at the time. We had not reached the stage where I opened the book yet. That was coming quickly. And so everybody succeeded except for my bard, who was 40 feet away. But then he told me that the fear would have actually happened before my bard's turn, and so I needed to move him back to where he started, which was about 70 to 80 feet from the Banshee. And so I did. And then do you think that would count as a support beam to keep this upright? Because I really don't feel like the amount of concrete I'm dealing with here is dang it, that's the wrong tool. Ugh. You know what? You shouldn't even let me play with stuff, I tell you. Now I don't have enough to... Can I have some more rebar, please? Somebody needs to take away my tools. I can't work the game tonight. So, anyways, I need to finish this. This story. So then he tells me I have to move my guy back, and so I do, but that's like 70 to 80 feet away. Oh man, it's so much. It takes so much to do this. Oh, that's a little better. We'll get some more stone. So, I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know. Could be a 120-foot ability. You know, I mean, that stuff happens. And then I'm like, okay, so I can't move forward because you can't move toward the thing you're afraid of. I'm too far away to do anything except fire my bow, but because I'm afraid, it would be at disadvantage, which makes it super annoying. And I can't really do a lot of damage with said bow, because it's a short bow, and so it doesn't do a lot of damage in the first place. And I'm not spec'd out for bow attacks as it is. And so I'm just like, no. My motorcycle has fallen in a pit. Good thing I can magically pick it up. Although, oh good. I thought for a second I was trapped in this pit. I'm not though. But I am down here to get some stone, so that's a plus. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm just not gonna take my turn at this point. I'm just gonna end my turn and roll my saving throw. See if I can break the sphere. And so I failed, so I didn't get to undo that. Because, man, I tell you what, I get feared or stunned or something like that, I can never make my saving throws. And so then it's the Banshee's turn. And so then the Banshee, he says, everybody's got to roll a Constitution saving. Or no, My fighter, who's next to the Banshee, has to roll a Constitution saving throw. I'm like, oh no, this is the big ability. But that's okay, because Constitution saving throw is my best saving throw. And so I rolled really high. I got like a 24, and only had to have a 13. I can't go lower than a 9. So as long as I roll a 4 or higher on the dice, I am safe. 4 on a 20-sided dice. And so I wasn't too worried about it, but then he attacks with a regular attack from the Banshee, and I'm like, wait. That's like 3 things this Banshee's done this turn. I'm like, I don't think it works like that. So I get out the book, and I'm looking at the book, and I'm looking at everything we had done for the night. And I'm like, okay, so the Banshee has 3 actions listed. Not they get to take 3 actions, but there are 3 actions they get to choose from and do one of them on their turn. Can you guess what those 3 actions are? Horrifying Visage, Wail, which is the one I succeeded the saving throw against, and the Necrotic Claw attack. You get to do one of those 3 on your turn, not all 3. That's not how monsters work. That's not how the players work. And I'm just like, I wonder where else he's screwed up tonight. And so I said we come back to the statue, and we are coming back to the statue. So the statue is standing on its pedestal, and it only attacks you if you get within 5 feet of it. And nobody got within 5 feet of the statue, except when he said that our rogue wandered over. The rogue did not move his character, but the DM said the rogue wandered over to point out features on the statue. And that's when the statue, who only attacks you if you get within 5 feet of it, does not get down off its pedestal. But he said, got down off its pedestal, came over and attacked our rogue, and then got back up on its pedestal. I'm like, okay, so he took a random free swing at us, and then he, and Horrifying Visage only goes out 60 feet, so I was out of range when I got frightened. This is interesting. What was that? Oh, lead. There is lead in my niter vein. And so, so his banshees took his one banshee that was left alive by the time it got to their turn, took a turn for each of the banshees on its turn, basically. Oh, the statue got to take a running leap and attack at us for no reason, which it's not able to do. The spiders that spilled out of the altar and attacked my warrior only come out of the altar if you touch the altar, which nobody had even gotten to the altar at that point. In fact, I don't think we touched the altar at all, even after we killed the banshees. They definitely don't swarm off the altar to attack someone who's 30 feet away, which is what happened to my character. If it says they stay on the altar and just attack people who get next to the altar after the altar has been touched. They will chase you if you try to leave their area, but they do not swarm off the altar to attack people nearby. Not like that, anyways. And so, I just, and then after we finished that, he was like, "Yep, you're done now. There's nothing else left on this floor." And and I get looking in the book, and not only was there more to do on the floor, But there were like 8 more bad guys we could have fought that he didn't even bring out for us to fight. In one of the rooms that we explored after we finished with the Banshees. He was like, yeah, no, you're done. That's it. We're done with this floor. And so we head back to town. We turn in our quest. We get a new quest. And then we head back down to the next floor. And there's a bunch of these troglodytes that have been enslaved by the drow. And it says in the book that they don't speak anything other than troglodyte. And of course, none of us speak troglodyte. And so that makes it pretty interesting for what's going on. That they speak a language we can't speak. And so it says that they do try to communicate with gestures and stuff like that. And what they want you to do is to rescue their children who are being held as hostages by the drow. And so, yeah, we got in there, and then they immediately started speaking in English, common, because English is the language we speak, so the common language for our group is English. And yeah, so we didn't even get to do anything with the NPCs. It says that they try to entice the drow to attack us if we don't agree to help. And instead they just said they wouldn't do anything to make the drow mad, and they wouldn't help us fight. But if we could save their youngins, they'd be grateful. And like, fine, whatever, I get it. We're not allowed to interact with NPCs ever. And so we fought those guys, and then we ended for the night. But I was just like, man, like, he kept moving us around. We weren't allowed to finish sentences. He kept changing how things worked. The braziers were supposed to have the room lit up from the beginning so that you could see what was in there. And but he said that the braziers ignited when the Banshees turned, because the Banshees ignited them so that their horrifying visage would affect us all. The horrifying visage that was an action that they could only do on their turn, but they were dead before they got to their turn. The book did say that one of the Banshees on their turn would cast horrifying visage or wail, and when they would do it. But obviously, none of that means anything because he follows the rules and what the book says. But obviously, on top of that, he doesn't follow the rules or what the book says. He just does whatever he wants whenever he feels like it, because he's the DM and all his rules are hidden. I don't know how many times we got hit by natural 20s tonight or high 20 attacks, because he almost only rolls those. Unless there are multiple attacks against your character in the same turn, then he always rolls high and hits you. I hate it. I don't know why he can't just play the game. Anyways, I think that's enough for one episode. So with that, and my new fancy light bulb, be better in the small things, lean in the light. I will talk to you later.